what I don't understand, why do the blacks accept themselves being treated that way? Like they just can't do it. They're lowering the whole, even to get in certain jobs and things, they're lowering the standards for the blacks so that they can get it, otherwise they won't get it. I don't understand why the blacks put up with that.
Those type of things are just kind of balancing the scales from things that happened decades before. So as you know, slavery happened. It wasn't that long ago, as you know.
Over 150 years ago.
And my mother, not my grandmother, my mom went to a segregated school. So it's not that long ago.
I did too.
Okay, so you understand. It's not like this is distant.
But blacks were better off then. They didn't beg, they didn't blame.
Let's see. So back after World War II, there was a period in the United States, about 20 to 30 years, where when people came back from the war, they were given home loans that they had no interest or didn't even have to pay back. They were given cars, they were given free college education, they were given all of these things that purposely excluded black people. So there was a time in this country where white people got handouts, but we didn't call it that. Back at the time, you know, the GI Bill, all of those funds, we didn't call it a handout, we called it an opportunity. And when people look back on that time, they look back on that time, a lot of white people, as a very happy time because they got a leg up in the country, they got a fresh start, they got the money and the support that they needed to build the generational wealth that they have today. And black people didn't have access to it. They were literally purposely excluded because of racism, because of Jim Crow, because of all of these things that purposely left us out and did not give us access to the same type of help that white people did.
Where did you get that information from? Because it's not true. Where did you get that from?
The GI Bill, you should look it up.
I know black men who went to the military, they got the GI Bill too. It wasn't just the white. I have family members who went to the military, they got the GI Bill. Yep. When they got out, they were able to go to school and they were able to purchase.
But a lot of them were excluded.
They were able to purchase a home and things like that. And they were black, right? So I'm trying to figure out where you get that information from because it's not true.
It's just true. We can agree to disagree, but
I
it is a fact.
I grew up in Alabama when the Jim Crow law existed, and that what you said wasn't true.
Yeah, my family
black
grew up
people
in
were
Texas.
doing better during the Jim Crow law than they are today because they weren't begging and blaming, and the country didn't have to lower the standards to let them in.
It's not lowering the standards, it's giving people access. We know right now, literally recently in Texas, there was a job posting that went out where people were sending clone resumes, same exact resume, you just put a black name on it and a white name on it, and the white people were still getting the job or getting called for interviews when the black name wasn't. Like, this is 2023. So, you know, racism exists.
Why would a company want to hire a person with a black name? They know that that's trouble.
Why is that trouble?
Because when the blacks change their name to black names, they're saying out loud, well, we hate white folks. We're not going to work with them. We're not going to get along. And so I would never hire anyone with a black name.
Well, that's bias. And
because I know that you're bringing in trouble. This person's already want me to get along with my white employees and things like that.
Well, that's internalized racism.
I wouldn't hire that.
That's your choice.
You know what I mean?
Bias.
So why would a company want to hire someone that you know already going to bring trouble?
That's not true. I'm Nigerian. I have a Nigerian name. Amani Wells-Onyioha is a Caucasian name.
But you grew up in America, though. You didn't grow up in Nigeria.
And there's a lot of black people who have ethnic names who grew up in America. So what's the difference?
But why would a company want to hire a black with a black name?
Why not?
No, I'm asking. I just told you why not, because it's trouble.
Why is it trouble? Black people are trouble? Is that your
When
opinion?
they change their name to abnormal names like black names, they're saying they're angry. They are.
If we don't change our name, last time I checked, I didn't choose my name.
I know,
was
but
given
your
my
mother,
name at birth.
your folks are from a different country, so
my
of
mom
course,
is from here.
But your father's from there, right? It's of course they're going to have different names. I'm talking about the blacks who were Americans and they had American names at one time. You believe that, so you think that it's okay that the reason that you are a Democrat and no problem with it, you're okay with them lowering the standards for the blacks?
They're not lowering the standards for the
blacks. What would you call it? Because these people are not qualified.
If you're not qualified, then you won't get the job. But if you have the qualifications,
but the qualified person is the person that can pass the test.
If you can pass
not the one that can't pass the test.
There's a lot of black people who have had affirmative action who have passed the test and are very educated. They have master's degrees, they have high GPAs.
But how would you know that, though, since you know that they only get in, into these schools based on color.
They're not
And so
only getting into the schools
the
based on
standards
color.
been lowered so the blacks can get in. So you have to assume that all the blacks are just getting in because, not because of qualification, but because of affirmative action.
It's just not true.
Is that true?
It's not true.
Okay. You believe that there are benefits to having a more progressive leadership that is willing to change the law for working class people, such as raising the minimum wage. Are you okay if you had a business, your own business? Would you be okay with the government telling you in your own private business that you have to raise the minimum wage?
I have my own private business because
you
I'm a
do?
partner at this firm, so I do own a portion of the firm. And we unionized our staff. We told them, hey, y'all should unionize. And we did their union negotiation in 2 days. We gave them good wages, they got medical, and we are bound by that union contract, and it goes up every year, and we have to reaffirm it, and we did it, and it's fun.
Did you know that the civil rights movement was, other than abortion, the worst thing that ever happened to the blacks?
No, I don't agree with that.
And why not?
I don't see why it would be the worst thing to ever happen to the blacks. Being able to have desegregation and being able to be treated like a full and equal human in society, although we still have our issues and systematic racism still exist, a lot of good came from the civil rights era.
I grew up in Alabama, as I said, during the time that so-called Jim Crow law existed. I remember for colors on it, for whites on it, blah, 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 kind of water fountain and all that. But the blacks were doing better then than they are today in that they bought land, they owned homes, they went to universities if they wanted to, they had trades. When the kids left home, graduated, left home, they started businesses, they bought homes. And the Jim Crow law existed. But it brought the best out of the blacks because they had to do for themselves, right? They couldn't blame someone else, and they did the best. They would be like the Jews are today had not the civil rights movement happened. And but when the civil rights movement happened, the blacks gave up their families for the government. They gave up their becoming an individual for the so-called black leaders like Martin Luther King and Jesse Lee, all those people. They turned their lives over to them. And those people told them, racism is this, y'all can't make it. Y'all need us, y'all need this. And the blacks have gone downhill ever since. They have never returned back to normal. Have you noticed that?
I completely disagree with that.
Why?
It's just
what
not
part
true.
of that you disagree with?
How have blacks gone downhill? Black women, particularly, are the most educated demographic of people in the whole country. In 2023, that's an improvement because there were times where we weren't even allowed to go to school prior to, certain things being protected.
When were you not allowed to go to school? There were
women.
As a result of the segregation, they were creating black universities and things like that, which brought out the best in blacks then. And then the education that they were getting is much better than the education they're getting out of black schools because, how black folks are, they don't care. But
I disagree.
the education was no good. And if you notice, the black women who are getting the so-called education, it's putting them on a false pedestal, and they think they're better than everybody. Now they're lonely, they're lost, they're angry, and nobody want to deal with them. So they got worse rather than getting better.
I completely disagree. I know plenty of black women who are happily married and educated. I'm going to my friend Tati's wedding next weekend. Black woman, black man.
She
has
educated?
a master's degree,
Oh,
and she's
man.
getting married a black man.
Have you ever organized anything for Black Lives Matter?
No.
Oh, good. What's your impression of that group?
I think they were doing good work.
Like what, for example?
Well, the best thing that came out of Black Lives Matter is people are being more aware of what was going on with police brutality and how a lot of black people were being treated at the hands of police and being unjustly killed. So for nothing else, I'm sure that, we've heard a lot of things about the organization itself, but the movement itself is a powerful one, and it was a necessary one at the time.
So you agree with them destroying statues and monuments and setting fires to businesses and people getting killed? There was some black police officers that were killed as a result of that. You agree with all that?
It was not what I would have personally done, but, do you, boo?
And why wouldn't you have done it personally?
Because that's just not what I would have did.
I'm sorry?
That's just not how I would, would have done. But again, there was a lot of heightened emotion at the time of the country. People felt like that was the only way that they could be heard, and that was the only way to release their frustrations at the time. So people handled things differently.
Interesting. There's something else interesting on your website, something about the Republican being bad. Do you believe that the Republican Party is a bad party for the blacks?
Yeah.
In what way?
The racism is enough for me.
Well, I haven't seen racism since I've been on this earth. What does racism look like?
You, growing up in Jim Crow, Alabama, have never seen racism.
As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, the word didn't even exist at all until the Civil Rights Movement started, which was a mistake. The word racism didn't even exist.
That doesn't mean it wasn't happening.
So what does racism look like?
What do you mean?
How do you recognize it when you see it?
Discrimination, bias, even some of the things that you've said. You have a lot of internalized racism.
I do?
Absolutely. So
Like
even
what?
just saying like somebody's Black American name, if it sounds black, that means they're going to bring you trouble. That's racist.
Look, I know black folks, and I know that the reason they changed their name to black names is because they hate white people, they hate America. And since knowing that, why would I want to intentionally bring trouble into my own company that I had to build? You know what I'm saying?
Internalized racism, you have it. A lot of it.
Protecting my company is internalized racism?
No, but assuming that somebody has bad intentions just because they have a black sounding name is racist.
That's amazing. Racism doesn't exist. Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil.
Sure.
Right versus wrong. It's not physical, it's spiritual. And those people who have anger are evil. Those who don't have anger are good. So there's a battle going on inside and outside, inside of others. It has nothing to do with color.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that too?
Absolutely.
I thought you were a Christian.
What does that mean? What does it have to do with racism
But Christians
existing?
should understand that racism does. Even God said that our battle is not physical, it's spiritual. Was he lying? What do the blacks want from the whites? When will enough be enough?
I don't know what that means.
What do they want? What do y'all want from the whites?
Y'all, because you're black. So what do we?
No, I take care of myself. I don't want anything.
Are you not black?
I'm black as the ace of spades, but I'm independent. And so what do the blacks want, and when will it be enough?
Blacks want to be treated equally like everybody else.
And what does that mean?
To have access to the same things, to not have to deal with systemic racism. This country has a very deep history with certain things. So I don't think we're looking at the whites wanting anything. Like, there's nothing that I want from the whites. Society needs a makeover, and it's a race issue, but it's a class issue. There's a political corruption issue. There's a lot of issues that are happening just systemically in a country. And yes, sometimes we do put too much emphasis on race, but that doesn't mean racism doesn't exist. But there's a class issue. There's a lot of poor white people that don't have access to education and healthcare, even broadband to even get on the internet. So there's a lot of issues that this country needs to focus on that affect a lot of us.
Well, the reason that the education system, public education, is no good because the teachers and the unions are no good. They put a lot of money in the classrooms, but the teachers and the union use it for other things other than to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then the parents don't care. The black parents don't care about their children. They got to go to work. They got to be partying. They got to be shaking their butts around, right? They don't care about the children. So it's not that they don't have the money. It's just no good parents and teachers and unions. Have you noticed that?
I disagree. The public schools aren't being funded in the same way that
No,
they used
they're
to be.
being funded.
They're not. You can look.
As a matter of fact, they get more money now than they did in the past.
That's just not true. A lot of private schools are getting more money, and a lot of people are taking their kids out of the public schools, putting them into private schools, and then putting their resources into the private schools, leaving the public schools barren and not, with the access or the budgets that they used to have, which causes them to suffer.
Do you know that's not true?
It's true.
No, I haven't worked in the schools before, and I know people
My
work
mom was
for
a
the
teacher
school.
for 27 years.
And I have
My aunt
good
is a
friends
teacher,
who are
35
teachers
years.
and principals at these schools, and they tell me how much money there's there. It's just that the parents don't care. The black parents don't even show up at PTA meetings. They out trying to get love, and they don't care, and the teachers don't care. They're teaching everything but reading and writing and arithmetic. Do you support, what's the name of that stupid stuff they're teaching now? Critical race theory?
They're not teaching critical race theory.
Do you support that?
It's not being taught. So this whole thing came out of nowhere.
No, it is
It's
being
not,
taught.
It was
Some
taught on a
teachers are doing it
collegiate.
even though they're told not to do it.
It was taught on a master's level, collegiate level. And then we took a narrative and started running with it. There was never CRT in kindergarten class, I promise you. It just wasn't happening.
You don't seem to know about what's really going on.
I do
Because
know.
you don't know that it's being taught anyway.
It's just not being
You
taught.
don't know that this school get buku money. You don't seem to
They don't.
really know.
I know
You don't
a
even
lot.
know that prior to the civil rights movement, there was no such word as racism that came about so that they can control the blacks.
I know a lot. I just disagree with you. So we just have different opinions on things.
Is America the best country on this side of heaven?
It's cool.
Who would you rather see as president? Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, Kanye West, Will Smith, or Donald Trump?
Hillary. Yeah.
Hillary? Is it okay for a black man to love the Confederate flag?
No.
No? But you say you believe in freedom.
Yeah. You ask me what I believe, if I think it's okay. I'm not saying he's not allowed to. I'm saying, do I think it's okay? He can do whatever he wants.
Amazing. Did you have fun?
It was interesting.
Thanks for watching The Fallen State. We need your continued support. Donate to my nonprofit here. Subscribe and like the videos here. And tell everybody and their mama about the show.